The hardest thing for this kind of a speech is to turn the video. And by that I mean, or the tables, or whatever you want to call it, turn the focus off of you and onto your audience. Because you already have an interest in the topic, which is why you've called dibs on it. Now what you have to do is to hook your audience. You've got to get them connected. So I might hear Normandy, France, and I'm going, what? Who cares? Right? Exactly. So if you're giving a speech, are you giving a speech for yourself, or are you giving a speech for everybody in here? Everybody in here. So your challenge, I don't want you to give up your speech topic. Your challenge is to make your speech audience focused. Nice, focused. Is it two S's?
No, you're right.
I'm sorry?
You're right.
I'm right. Okay, good. Thank you. I need you guys to do my spell check for me. All right, audience focus. It's got to be something. I mean, you may find Normandy to be extremely interesting, but if we were to do a brain map of Normandy, just off the top of your head, I'll let you do this. What are some things that come to mind that are interesting to you? Battle. Okay, this is excellent. This is a good start. All right. So now what we're going to do is an informal audience analysis. All right. So first of all, I want to ask everybody, and you're going to quiz them for a moment. Okay. What is the significance of Normandy for usually us from an American standpoint?
What is the battle?
Which battle? No.
D-Day.
D-Day, Omaha. What happened there? Yes. A lot of people lost their lives, right? And it was, like, it's, using a basketball concept, it was the full court press. It was doing everything that the Allied forces needed to do to storm, literally, the beaches, okay? Why are you interested in that? Been there. Awesome. And? Okay. So it was, so you got a personal experience, which is awesome. Do you have any photographs of your own that you can use in your PowerPoint? Oh, I love it. So your pictures are going to be real pictures. All right. So if you were to hear that, number one, there's a vague understanding in your audience of what it is, right? So you sort of have a little bit of an understanding, but not a lot, right? Do you think you will need to establish some significance for Normandy at the beginning? Okay. I mean, why did you visit it? Okay, so there was a family visit, and so you were motivated to go there. Are you come from military at all? Background? Not really. Okay. All right. Well, at any rate, how did Normandy even come up on the horizon for you guys to go visit?
So my sister lives in, so they decided to go somewhere else. We visited our school in France. In France, we were close. So we decided to go there.
What the hell, right? Kind of, sort of, all right. Okay, and then once you got there, did you start to see something interesting connection, significant? Do you think it's important for Americans to know what happened at Normandy? Why?
So,
All right. So you will need to, for the WIFM, what's in it for me, for your classmates, because all of your audience, in order to now be audience focused, be audience centered, you are all asking yourself, as this person gets up there and shows a picture of Normandy, you're all asking yourself, okay, so what's in it for me to listen to this? Why do I care? So what you'll need to do is to hook them by getting some kind of significance for why that's important for all of us to know, right? So what we strive for, let's look at a bell-shaped curve, right? And in a bell-shaped curve, are you going to get everybody in your audience? No, you're not going to reach everybody, all right? So there's going to be some that may, like nobody's going to be quite as excited as you. There'll be some that'll say like, oh, this is bullshit, I don't even want to listen to it, right? You just got to put the outliers out there. But then you have these people in the middle that you want to try and reach. So that's our 80%. If you can reach 80% of your audience, then you are already starting to create new information for people in the room, right? And so what you'll want to do then is to target, and thinking this is positive, this is negative, is to get neutral people who have no interest at all to now move over there. Okay? So it's informative and yet it's somewhat persuasive. Because if it's enough of informing that is relevant, okay, going back to the things that we try and do in our introduction, those are those things you've got to really work on at the very beginning of your speech. That introduction is going to be critical for this particular type of speech. Hook them, make it relevant, answer the question, why should they listen to you? Why does this matter? Link in your credibility. The fact that you were physically there is really awesome. All right, so there's those elements there. So audience analysis of what's up here. I'm going to ask you if it's interesting to you to know more. All right, and by a show of hands, how many of you are interested in knowing about the ruins? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, how many are interested in knowing about the battle? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How many about the other sites to see around the area? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How about the beaches? 1, 2. And the museum? 1, 2, 3, 4. And the fact that it's beautiful. You want evidence to see it's beautiful? Okay. And anybody interested in visiting there? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, those of you who are interested, is it because of being military families at all? Because you are military? All right. Yeah. And so that in your military? Yeah, so there's definitely that kind of connection. Okay, so now you have an informal audience analysis to know where you want to focus your information, right? So that you can move people. It looks like this is interesting. This is going to be interesting. That ties into the museum, all right? And then maybe a little bit into the ruins and visit, it's just, so that tells you where you want to go. That's what we do when we are preparing, is we do this kind of brainstorming, we do this kind of analysis, and you just do it with anybody. Okay, you can do it with classmates, you can do it with random people who kind of represent who would be in your classroom, and you start to make your speech relevant. All right. All right. Now, our process for this kind of a speech is you're going to start with your brainstorm. All right. From there, you're going to come up with your thesis statement. You're going to come up with your preview of your three main topics. No more than 3 main topics. You don't have enough time. Okay. So 3 main topics. You could do a compare and contrast. So you could have 2 topics. All right. You could organize this in a number of different ways. You could organize it as, well, let's talk about geography. So first, we're going to look at multiple different sites. Then we're specifically going to go into the battle site, and then we're going to go to the museum. So you logically connect in order what are those elements that you're going to be talking about, okay, your main points. All right, so we have our brainstorm, and then you're going to do your outline. And that's what's due on Sunday. 90%. So what of that 90% do you think I'm going to be focusing on when I take a look at and give you feedback? The informative speech. What do you think is going to be the most important? What? Yes. What kind of information? Yes. So I'm going to be looking at your research. All right. I'm going to be looking at what do you have for your information and how legitimate is it? All right. So I want to know that you have done some homework. So make sure that your works cited at the end of the page are meaningful. All right. And that research, you are required, so everybody look at the rubric. Okay, everybody look at the rubric here and the rubric for your outline. All right. Write in here that you need a minimum of 3 sources. So look at the outline first. And in the outline under body, okay, you guys should know this almost by heart now. But in the outline where it says, you know, you've got your attribution that I grade you on, right? Or you can look at it here. And if you look at it under the body, and this one you do have, you see the body right there? And it says that you have full attribution for a minimum of 3 sources. So you need to have a minimum of 3, okay? And those 3 must be identified in your outline with all 3 elements. Okay, so think about how you did the citing of the Aesop fable, right? So those 3, and this equals your attribution. Now, you may not have them all in the body. You may have them spread out other places in your outline. That's okay. All right, but you need a minimum of 3. So you've got to say, who is the author? Where did you get it from? And when was it published, or when did you access it? Okay, so author, the location, whether it's in a book, by the title of a book, or if it was in a website, history.com, or what have you, or the government, U.S. government, all right? And then when. And the when is going to be relevant if you use a statistic. A statistic must have the date of when the research was conducted. Because the date on statistics tell us whether it's relevant or if it's current. All right. For this, though, it could just be when you accessed it. All right. So you get to play and decide which of those is going to be the right one to use. But you still have to have in your references, and some of you are having a few problems with this, use APA format, all right, and not just URLs at the end of your paragraph, okay, your outline. All right, questions so far? I know this is very repetitious, isn't it? You've heard this before. Oh, yes, sir. No. You're going to just do the outline for Sunday night. That's it. Okay? Because what's going to happen is I'm going to tell you if you're on the right track or not. I'm going to look at everybody's outline, and I'm going to give you some general feedback. That 90% gets you ready to do a PowerPoint. And you have to do the PowerPoint the Ms. K way. All right? Where less is more. It's all about pictures, graphs, charts, images, visual aids. And less about words. We don't want words on your PowerPoints, okay? Except for the standard. So I am going to explain how to do a PowerPoint on Tuesday. You really are encouraged to watch that assignment early to help you before you start working on your PowerPoint. All right. I'm also going to refer to a video to help you about it. Yes.
So should our outline should it look like that on stick that we
No, that's called a brainstorm or a mind map. No, your outline should look just like your outline always does.
Okay.
Yep. Because you've got to get those labels in there. The labels are the identifiers that says, check off of the rubric that you've got those elements in there. Right? And that's how you stay disciplined in covering all the bases. Because once you got your outline, at that point then, and I give you the AOK, and I'm going to give you the AOK on your outlines probably by Tuesday night for everybody, all right, even if you're not in class Tuesday. At that point, then you're going to do your PowerPoint. Now, everybody look at this rubric side by side the PowerPoint rubric. Okay? All right. Everything going down to the item that says slide listings, there's two slides. Slide listing sources for content. Okay, so going all the way down there, that corresponds to everything on the rubric. Okay? So it says you have a title slide. Well, that's going to be, and I'm going to show you how to do that. That will be on your greeting. So your greeting will be in your title slide, right? So let me show you how that works. How many of you have used the notes section in PowerPoint before? Good. Okay, good. The rest of you have probably not, and you're going to love this. All right, so I'm going to go into share screen. Okay. When you go into your class, and you look at okay, here is a speech outline. It's thinking, but it's thinking slowly today. Okay, so I X this, right, you guys? Okay, so here's the outline. Oh, you can't see it. Oh, it's because I don't have it on. Duh. Okay. Oh, I know. You guys just shake your head. Okay, wait, it's not what I wanted to show you. Let me find it. Here. All right. Oops. This is how I'm finally going to grade. So what's going to happen is when you submit your outline that's 90%, I'm going to give you feedback, but it's not going to be graded. I'm going to grade the hard copy of your PowerPoint. So you are going to need to print out the notes section of your PowerPoint. You can do it upstairs. What do? I just exit, right, guys? Yeah. All right. So this is the notes view on PowerPoint. And literally, you copy and paste from your outline into the notes section. Then you identify what pictures you want to go along with it. All right? So, for instance, this is what a student did. This is where all of the general information, the beginning of the introduction occurs. And this is where I'm going to grade it. So that's why your outline that you submit on Sunday is your ballpark. It's really focusing on your research. All right? Don't worry about necessarily fine-tuning it unless you really want to make the copy and paste much easier. Okay? Then this is the attention getter slide. And you can see that the comments on what the person wants to say about the attention getter are right under there. Okay? So when you have your notes section and your audience sees the PowerPoint, they will not see the notes. This will not be visible to any of your students. The only thing your audience sees is the photo. You, however, so that you can stay along with what you're saying and don't get lost, will have your notes right there. All right? So then, as you can see, there goes into another important picture. And at this picture, the student, and this is a Moodle for you to look at so you know how to do this, is where the outline information from relevancy, credibility, thesis, revealed topic are then all copied and pasted right there on this notes section, all right? And you do that by just going into, here is view, and you see right here it says the notes page. When you click on the notes page, this is what you see. And this is just a dialog box. You see, it's just a dialog box, which is why you just copy and paste it right there. Just a text box, right? So now the next one, right? So this is how she went into main point number 1. And you can see her data is provided there. Transitions at the bottom. Some stage directions. Main point 2. See, this is what people see. They don't care about this. This is just for you. Then there's a review or summary slide. All right, this is how she concludes. So the memorable thought. Thank you and questions. And then she has a listing of all the image sources, and I'm going to talk to you about that next week a little bit more, and the references. So this will be graded to represent your PowerPoint, and it corresponds to everything is here on this rubric. Everything is there, right? Even the guidelines. So for instance, in PowerPoint, all backgrounds should be black or a very, very dark color. Never, ever, ever use white backgrounds. And never, ever, ever use neons. All right? So what you want to do is to make the image pop so that people are not seeing the background. It's not, that doesn't serve the purpose. And if you look at the power of this, okay, so this is the power. So let me switch this for a second. Well, let me, I'm going to go into the slideshow. So do you see how powerful it is? So she's using the chalk background for a purpose. You can use all black, navy blue, whatever you want. But now watch. So you can see how this, I mean, doesn't this just gut-wrench you? I mean, if you had a sister or a friend or somebody who this is what, image comes to mind, this would just make you do exactly what the author, the presenter wanted. The speaker wanted to get a reaction from the audience. So for you, it might be, an image of the bodies on the beach, if you wanted to gut wrench us. You don't have to do gut though. Your reactions can be anything from an audience can be like, to, oh, fun. Okay, you can be uplifting, it can be lighthearted. I mean, Olympics. I mean, I everything about the Olympics I love. All right, those, the Bolt. When that guy has just run a race and you see the excitement, you just like, man, that's triumph. Or the person crossing the finish line after a marathon. So those are really powerful pictures that you can use. And you can see I'm going to be teaching you how you use a border around your picture to give a source citation. Doesn't this look professional? Doesn't it? Okay, everybody say yes. Humor me. Okay, thank you very much. Because it does, it looks very professional. And if you go on a job interview someday and they say, have you ever done formal presentations? You can say, yes, I have. And you can even pull this up out of your LinkedIn and say, here's an example of some of my PowerPoint speeches I've given. Yes? Now, this is not APA, but it does have to have a citation, all right? So the citation here is just the author or owner of the photo. Okay, that's what this is, all right? So it was Shutterstock and the date that you retrieved it. That's all you have to do. So it might be Google Images, might be what you have right there, and then you say, March 23rd. And you see, it's small. It's not really intended for your audience to read it. It's just there in case you're questioned about it. Especially because look at this one. This is a statistic. And so this already has the source citation for it. And if you are challenged by your data, all right, you want to be able to say that the source passes the crap test. And if you want to know if it's going to pass the crap test, in your online resource book, on page, it's chapter 7, 2.4. Chapter 7, 2.4. It tells you exactly what's going to pass the crap test. Now, in public speaking, we're not looking for academic journals. You do that in your English class and your history class. In public speaking, we're looking for legitimate news reporting. Now, it might be a legitimate history book, but it's okay if it's, the New York Times, if it's, a reputable group. You can also slide over to table 7.4, and it's in your textbook, your resource book, and it's going to show you exactly how to do your APA style. Right? So use this. This is going to help you. It also gives you some good research locations or ideas. So newspapers, legitimate blogs, special interest periodicals, general interest periodicals. Just consider the author and what is their intent. Okay. So we will talk a lot about this next week. But that tells me that I don't want to wait until the night before your speech to do your research. That's just not good. We don't want people waiting. All right, so I'm going to actually close today and make myself available up here for anybody who has a one-to-one question that you want to ask. So I'm going to turn this off.